Hello, 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 everyone. Come on into the webinar. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Linda Peavy, and I am the owner of LaPav Consulting, LLC, and I'm going to be your host for this afternoon while we talk about how you secure the bag and how you can get grant money. Yes, grant money, free money for your nonprofit or your for-profit business. So what I want you to do is start off by saying hello to me in the chat. I'm in Ohio, Northeast Ohio to be exact, where it is for us, a balmy 44 degrees, because if you know anything about Northeast Ohio, you know that there could be a foot of snow on the ground. So I am not complaining. So tell me where you're coming in from, okay? Tell me where you're coming in from. Hey, Jessica and Raleigh, the ATL is represented with Freya. Hey, our neighbors to the south, Columbus, Ohio, Crystal, yes. Oh, the ATL is really represented. Hey, Arnie, Mississippi. Oh, the ATL is strong up in here today. Wow, Melanie. Oh, wow. And our neighbors to the southeast, Canton, Ohio. Hey, Sherman from Philly. Ooh, Philadelphia is coming in strong with Tammy. All right, we got Baltimore represented. The South will not be defeated. We got Dallas up in the house with Brittany. Thank you so much, everybody. Again, my name is Linda Peavy. I'm going to be your host for this afternoon, and I'm the owner of LaPav Consulting, LLC. And we are going to get started because if you know anything about me, you know that this is going to be a no fluff zone. Okay, I have a lot of information to share with you. We are going to go fast, okay? But I don't want you to worry because everything is being recorded, okay? And you are going to get a free replay. So if your little fingers can't write fast enough, don't worry about it. You're going to get a full replay. And I don't charge for my replays. Everything is free with my replays. So you will get a replay for free. So the first thing we're going to do is look at who came in first. So if you saw and read, okay, any of my emails that I sent to you asking you to please join me, you know that I said I was going to give away a little prize. And that's the first thing I'm going to do. And it is our Prepare to Win Grant Success Kit, right? It's worth $497. And it has templates and grant templates and trackers and goal trackers. And it really teaches you how to find the perfect funder, okay? And it also teaches you how to create budgets. And there's videos. It's like fantastic. And I'm giving it to the first person that popped in to say hello. And that is Freya Pearson. She was ready to start today. So Freya, you're going to get a free copy of our Prepare to Win Grant Success Kit that's worth $497. So we are going to give that to you. All right. So next thing we're going to do, we're going to get started because I have a lot of information, right? And so number one, I'm going to share my screen. And I always say, like, come through technology, come through, because we are going to get started. And the first thing you're going to see is my really brief 30-second TV commercial, because it's going to give you a little more information about me and what I do and who I am. And then we are off to the races. All right.
Hi, I'm Linda Peavy, owner of LaPav Consulting. My passion is to place your organization on the path to excellence. Are you struggling to communicate your message, reach target audiences, or secure funding? From marketing communications to grant writing, we achieve your goals. We work with high-profile clients and have secured $17 million in funding for charter schools and nonprofits. Call today to discuss what your success looks like and how LaPav Consulting can help.
All right, so that gives you a little bit more information about who I am, and I want to make sure everybody's in the right place. So this is the grant writing for Black-owned businesses and Black-led nonprofits. This is my noon session, right? I have another session live at 7 o'clock tonight. So if you know anybody that wants to join us at 7 o'clock tonight, we're going to drop you the link. But right now, we're going to get started. And just so you know, again, we are going to go pretty fast because I have a lot of information. But also, I want you to ask questions, because whatever you do, don't go anywhere, right? Because at the end, we're going to do an in-depth Q&A. We're going to answer all of your questions, okay? So as I move along, drop your questions into either the Q&A or the chat as we move along, all right? So we're off to the races. A little bit more about me. I have spent literally the last 15 years writing grants, and they call me the grants queen. Why? Because yes, I have secured $17 million in funding and grants for my clients. I also write those requests for proposals, right, that you see. And I've helped organizations to build partnerships. And yes, I give workshops all around the country talking about grant writing. And I'm also an alumnus of the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses program. So if you are a for-profit and you're interested, there's a link, and you can also send me an email. But I've also been the executive director of a nonprofit. So for you nonprofits, I know how you feel as well when you're applying for those grants and you get those little pesky rejection letters. We are going to try to prevent that from happening, right? So a little bit more about my journey to getting to be able to secure $17 million, because you know there's a difference, right, between securing the money, like actually getting the money and winning the grant, and just writing applications. Like I've been blessed enough to be able to secure over $17 million in grants and development for my clients, but it wasn't always that way, right? I was a publishing executive in Pennsylvania, and then I got hurt and I had to come home. I was in that job for over 10 years and I had to come home back to Cleveland, Ohio, right where I live. But I came home literally in a wheelchair because I was hurt. I couldn't even stand, couldn't even walk. It took me 2 years to recuperate, right? And when I was better, I couldn't find a job, even though, right, I had over 20 years of experience. At that point, it was like over 25 years of experience in marketing, but I couldn't get a job. Why? Because my experience was in publishing and I was in Cleveland. And if you know anything about Cleveland, you know it is not like the publishing mecca of the country, right? So what did I do? I started my own business, right? It was on a necessity, right? So I want to know, first of all, are you a for-profit or are you a nonprofit? Or what I've been seeing is that a lot of for-profits are starting nonprofits. So you might be both. So let me know in the chat, right? Let me know in the chat who's with me today. Like, are you both, a for-profit, both? Oh, wow. We have a lot of both. That's fantastic, right? For-profit, nonprofit. So whether you are a nonprofit or for-profit, this webinar is going to help you, right? So I started LaPav Consulting. Like I said, this is my 15th year of owning my business. And one of my first jobs was to be a contracted executive director of a nonprofit, right? So I accepted the contract. The first week, I was called into the board of directors office, the first week. And I was told that I had to write a grant to save my job, literally, to save my position. I needed to write a grant that would pay for the salary, my salary, hello. Of course, they didn't tell me that in the job interview, right? And so I didn't know anything about grants, right? My experience was in marketing and publishing, but you know what I learned? I got the grant, I saved my job, I saved the organization. You know, we can speak real, right? How many times have we people who look like us have been called in to save the day, to save a project, to save a program, right? Sometimes to save the whole company. So say yes, give me a yes in the chat. If you have experience, right? Us, people who look like us, being called in like to save the day, right? And that's exactly what I had to do. And that's what I did, right? Yes, yeah, I'm, oh my gosh, yes. So you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? And so I learned, though, the importance between being able to secure free grant money. You're going to hear that word all afternoon, free grant money, right? And being able to operate your organization, grow your organization, right? Add or expand to your organization, right? There's a connection between getting this free money. Why not use somebody else's money right? To be able to grow or even open up your organization, right? But I learned that there's a process to this, right? There is a process. So what we're going to talk about today is the process. We're going to go over why this class is important, the 3 keys to funding, grant basics, how do you prepare to write, what to write, how to write. We're going to talk just for, if we have time for a second, about bid proposals. Then we're going to talk about just how do you get noticed in a sea of applications. Then I'm going to show you how do you find the money, like how do you find the grant money? And then I'm going to give you a list of available grants, like right now, that you can apply for. And then don't go anywhere because I have a bonus surprise for you at the end. And we're going to do an in-depth Q&A. All right, we're off to the races. So why is this class necessary? Well, look, as Black-led nonprofits and Black-owned small businesses, we need help with funding. And it shouldn't always be about loans, right? You know, you're always presented with loan opportunities. Well, guess what? There's free money out here. We want free grant money, okay? However, grant writing is a skill. I'm a professional grant writer, and it can be a costly skill, right? For organizations. Someone of my skill level, we charge anywhere between $100 to $200 an hour to write a grant. You can learn this skill yourself, right? Why pay a grant writer when you are the best person to tell your story? And this is what you need to know. Stop being scared of this word grant writing. We're in a new time, right? It's not 10 years ago where grant writing, you had to write like a 200-page dissertation. No. Literally, you can write a grant in 2 hours, 3 hours. I was on training early this week where we were being taught how to use artificial intelligence to write a grant in an hour. So it's a different world, right? And these long applications, no. Literally last month, Barclay Bank was giving away $25,000 to small businesses to write a 500-word essay, right? So please don't think that you're having to write these long novels. That is not the way grants are anymore, okay? It's a new world. So yes, you don't have to be a professional grant writer to get money, but you do need to know the process. And that's what I'm going to teach you today is the process, right? We're going to learn what to write, how to write, and then absolutely how do you find the perfect funder, the organization that literally is looking to give you money, okay? So 2 different incidents completely changed the landscape of philanthropy right now. One was COVID-19. Before COVID-19, it was almost unheard of for for-profits to get grant money. When you thought about grants, what did you think about? You thought about nonprofits. Everything changed with COVID-19. Why? Because small businesses were closing at an alarming rate. You probably know an organization that had to close. Maybe your organization had to close, right? And keep in mind, small businesses are the backbone of this economy. And so foundations started to take notice and major corporations started to take notice. And they said, look, we have got to do something about this. So they created grant funds, pools of free grant money to give to small businesses, right? So that's why now more than ever, I've been doing this for 15 years, and I can assure you, I have never seen the amount of money that is available right now, right, for for-profit organizations as well as nonprofits, right? So because so many organizations, so many small businesses are led by women, that's why you have so much money available specifically for women-owned businesses and small businesses, okay? Now, there's a few COVID-19 grants that are still available, right? So if you see those grants, you will have to talk about how COVID-19 affected you. Maybe you had to lay off workers, maybe you had to close, right? But we're gonna talk about much more than just the COVID-19 grants. Now, the other incident was the George Floyd incident. So when George Floyd was murdered, once again, major corporations, their representatives and foundations, they saw what everybody else saw, okay? And they said, we have got to do something. We have to do something, right, about racial injustice in the country. And so what did they do? They used what was available to them, right? Money, cash. And so they created grants, right? Free grant money, specifically geared towards Black-owned organizations, right? So that's why you're seeing so much money available to Black-owned organizations, for profit, right? As well as nonprofit. This area of diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? Maybe you have a socially conscious cause that your particular program addresses. It could be homelessness. It could be the opioid, epidemic. There is money available now for you as a Black-owned small business or a Black-led nonprofit. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. And especially if you're Black and woman-owned, there's even more money available for you, okay? So now we're going to talk about just grant basics. Like, what do you need to know? You need to know that grants are not paid back. Now, I'm just talking to my nonprofits for 2 minutes. If you are a nonprofit, you must get your 501c3. What is that? That is the IRS designation to say that you are tax exempt, right? It means that you don't pay taxes, and any organization or person that donates to you can write those taxes off, or those donations off on their taxes as a charitable donation, right? So you're not paying taxes if you are 501c3. It is important because foundations only want to give to 501c3 organizations. So please get your 501c3. I don't want you to use a fiscal agent. What is that? That is an organization that has their 501c3 already. And so they're going to try to get grant money for you. If they're lucky, the grant money goes to them, and then they give the grant money to you. Well, this is why foundations really don't want to deal with fiscal agents, because if I'm giving you money based on your program, I want it to go directly to you. I don't want to use a third-party entity, right? So the good news is that for you nonprofits, it used to take the IRS literally 3 to 6 months to process applications. Now it's 6 to 8 weeks. Okay, so please, 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 if you are a nonprofit, you need to be getting your 501c3. Now, next, look at this chart, everybody. This is amazing, okay? Foundation giving increased to over $90 billion in 2021, and they're expecting the 2022 number to be over 100 billion, okay? Look at this number. People thought that, okay, we were in a pandemic, that people stopped giving. No, typically giving increases, when you have a time that is what we had, like a pandemic. Giving actually increases. So don't believe that the money isn't there. Look at this number, people. The money is there, okay? $90 billion. Now, look, we're not trying to be greedy. We don't need all of the $90 billion, right? We just need a little bit. Can you imagine what just a little bit of $90 billion can do for your organization? So I want you to put into the chat, I just need a little bit. I just need a little bit. We just need a little bit of the $90 billion, right? We're not trying to be greedy, okay? Can you imagine what you could do with just a little bit of $90 billion? That's what I'm talking about, Ann and Arnie and Sharman. I just need a little bit. We're not trying to be greedy, okay? It's available. That's what I want you to understand. The money is out here, okay? It's about you putting yourself in a position to get it, okay? That's right, that's right. Jessica, Mary, just a little bit, okay? Now, next, we are going to prepare to write grants. This is where too many organizations make a mistake. They see a grant application, they download it, they complete it, and they fill it out, and they wonder why they get a rejection letter. You have to prepare to write grants, right? Now, what I want you to do is just hone up on your writing skills just a bit, right? We know there's 5 basic writing skills. We're only going to talk about number 5, editing and rewriting, because I want you to use Grammarly, right? If you're using Grammarly, give yourself a shout out. Grammarly is unbelievable. It is a software editing tool. And now that they've incorporated AI, it's even more fantastic. And guess what? It's free. There's that word again, free, free, free. All right. Now, our friends at Grammarly gave us this fantastic article. Like, I'm a professional editor and I'm a professional writer, and I still use Grammarly. Improve writing skills dramatically by doing these 15 things. I'm going to be dropping you gems all afternoon. I'm going to be serving tea. This is my first cup of tea. Okay. This is your homework. I want you to download this article and read it. It is going to make you a better writer. And I'm saying that, yeah. Oh, so Jessica has a new idea. She has Quillbot. I happen to love Grammarly. I have the professional version of Grammarly, but you don't need the professional version. You can just use the free version, but we've got Grammarly, and now Jessica is saying Quillbot. So yes, 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 yes. Yes, Kiana, absolutely. So absolutely, you are going to download Grammarly. It's going to help you tremendously, but I want you to download this article because it will help make you a better writer. All right. So we are preparing to write grants, right? What are we doing next? We are preparing our documents. What do you need? Your EIN, your employer identification number. If you're a nonprofit, you need your 501c3. Now, for you for-profits, you need to make sure that you are legally able to do business in your state. Now, this is different for every state. I'm in Ohio. In Ohio, as a for-profit, I must have a business license, right? This differs by state. What I want you to do, more homework, go to your Secretary of State's website, and find out whether or not you need a business license to do business in your state. I was giving this webinar and a young lady came on and she said, Linda, you're absolutely right, because I was applying for a grant and there was stiff competition. And she said, I was the only one that got the grant because I was the only one that could prove that I had a business license, that I was legally able to do business in the state. So more homework for you, okay? Next, what do you need? Your list of your board members, your list of your staff. Letters of support become important. Why? Because organizations want to know that you are supported. Who's writing them for you? It could be your church, your pastor, community leaders, politicians, your vendors, but you need to give them time to write those letters. So that's why you're doing this before you start writing. Well, I take a sip. Now, audited financial statements. Some applications require them, some don't, but if they do, you will need your CPA, okay, your CPA to write and create your audit financial statement. Now, your operating budget. Why is this important? Because even for you startups, you still need an operating budget. Why? Because when you create that budget, at the end of the day, you have got to know how much it is going to cost you to start your business or to start your nonprofit. You have to know how much money this is going to take, right? So when you create that budget, you have those line items, you may, let's say you're opening up a storefront, you may have money for the lease, you may have money for the employees, but when you create that budget, you may see, oh, wow, I'm going to need money for marketing. I didn't think about that. Okay, that's where I may need to ask for grant money. It will help you identify where you're going to ask for grant funding when you create an operating budget. So again, whether or not you are a seasoned organization or a startup, you need to create an operating budget. More homework. Next, you need to list any other funding opportunities that you have been provided, right? Why? Because no funder wants to be the only organization giving you money. Why? Because grants are not guaranteed. And just because you get money in year one does not mean you're going to get money in year two. And they don't want the responsibility of knowing, well, if I don't give them money in year two, they're going to close down. That's why if you have any other funding sources listed, it could be other grants, other sponsorships, even in-kind donations, right? So make sure you include that information in the application. Now we're looking at what do you write? These are all of the grant components of an application. I'm going to go through all of these quickly, and then we're going to take it one by one. Your summary, your mission, your history, leadership, how you describe your organization, your statement of need, describing whatever your service or project is or your program, community partnerships, your results, which are your outputs, outcomes, and impact, your staff, leadership, budget, and I love sustainability. We're going to talk about that. All right, we're off to the races. Summary, what do you need to know? It is the first part of the application, but don't be fooled, don't be tricked. You always, always, always write it last. Okay, why? Because it is going to be the most compelling components of your grant application. So you're going to go through the application and pull out the most compelling components. That is what goes into the summary. So you'll see it first, always write it last. Next, mission, vision. Now, all of you should have a mission statement, right? But do you have a vision statement? Because you'll need one. What is a vision statement? It is what you would like to have happen in the future if you are attaining and implementing your mission statement, right? So if you don't have a vision statement, that's more homework. You need to write a vision statement. Now, the mission becomes very important. What is it? It's what you're doing now. It's your aim. It's your goals, right? And it's critical because you need to align your mission statement to the mission of the organization that you will be seeking funding from, right? There needs to be an alignment. So if you are focused on K through 12 education, that foundation also needs to be focused on K through 12 education. You need to align those missions, okay? Next, history. Now, what you need to know is that just because you're a startup doesn't mean you don't have a history, right? And I'll give you an example. Let's say there was a principal that retired from high school and she started a tutoring organization, right? Well, she used to be a principal and she saw that the kids in high school really were underperforming below proficiency level in math and reading. And so when she retired, she started this tutoring organization, right? Well, that was the impetus for her starting the organization, was what she saw and experienced in high school with these kids who were underperforming, right? So just because this is a new tutoring organization, she's going to talk about, as part of her history, what was the impetus for her creating the organization. And it was her experiences in high school. So just because you're new, don't think you have a history. You do, okay? So leadership, well, that's your CEO, your COO, and your board, right? So always remember, your board of directors, they're considered a part of the leadership of the organization too, okay? Now, you're going to describe your organization, right? You're going to talk about your track record of working with whatever your target population is, right? You're going to talk about those success factors, your success rates. You're going to use numbers like, how many people have you impacted, right? How many people do you serve? If you have a ministry where it's a food pantry, how many families do you feed a year, right? Because these organizations, these foundations, they want to know numbers. They want to know what your impact has been, right? And then you're going to talk about your experience with your target population, which we'll talk about a little bit later. For the principal, it was the high school kids, right? She's opening up a tutoring organization for high school kids. And yes, she's been able to work with those high school kids as a principal for many years, right? So that's part of what you're going to put into the grant application when you're talking about how you describe your organization, okay? Next, we're talking about your statement of need, or what is the problem. And this is what you absolutely have to understand. There is always a problem. You have to be addressing an issue with your company. Doesn't matter if you have a program, a project, or a service, right? You should always be addressing a problem. Now, I always give this example because you may be thinking, well, like, how is that possible? Well, let's take a bakery, right? A bakery, they're making cakes and cookies and cupcakes, right? We may be thinking, well, like, how is a bakery solving a problem or addressing an issue? Well, maybe it's a vegan bakery. And so she's addressing the issue that there are a lot of people who are vegans and they want to go to a bakery. They want sweets, right? Just like everybody else. So she's addressing that issue, right? She wants to locate in a downtown community, right? Well, when she locates in that community, she's replacing other failed businesses. So she is literally contributing to the economic development of that community, right? She's going to be servicing businesses in the area, right? So she is addressing the issue that they don't have a great upscale catering service, right? When it comes to bakery items. So always, it doesn't matter what you're doing, you always have to think about how you are addressing an issue, okay? And whatever that issue is, that's how you connect to your funder, right? Because they want to put money, right, on the same issue. So again, if it's education, make sure that the funder's area of interest is education. That's how you become matched and find your perfect funder. Now, how do you get information about the funder? Well, 90% of foundations don't have a website. I'm going to say that again, 90% of foundations do not have a website, right? So how do you get information about them? Well, this is more tea, the 990 form. Okay, the 990 is the tax document that foundations have to provide to the Internal Revenue Service. That's their tax form, right? It is a gold mine of information. Okay, it's going to give you information about the leadership of that foundation, right? Their staff, their board. And if you scroll down to the end of the 990, there's always a list of who they've donated to. You're going to look at that list to see if you can find a similar organization as yours, right? So if you have an equestrian program where you're utilizing horses to help heal veterans, right? You're going to look and see if there's any other animal-oriented nonprofits that they've donated to where animals are used to help heal, right, those who are in need. And you're going to think, okay, this may be a good match for me. Okay, I'm going to pursue that particular foundation. So the 990 is a gold mine. Don't sleep on it. How do you get the 990s? Well, you could pay websites to allow you to look at the 990 forms, or free. You could go to this particular website, projects.propublica.org/nonprofits. It will have the most recent 990 of any organization that has filed. And you will be able to look at that organization for what? For free. We like that word, free. Thank you so much, Irene, for dropping that into the chat. Irene is my tech person today. All right, next, target population. Who are you helping? This is where many of you get in trouble. You cannot help everybody, okay? You can't help everybody. You need to figure out who your target population is. And you have to think about who is best served by my product or my service, right? That's how you determine your target population. And look, it could be based on gender. Maybe your product is geared towards women. Ethnicity, maybe it's for African Americans. Income, right? Maybe it's for those who live below the federal poverty line. Maybe it's based on age. Maybe you have a daycare center where you are seeking kids that are age 5 or below, right? Maybe you're looking at your local geographical region. Whatever you do, you can get great demographics from the census. Like, don't sleep on the census. I use it for so much information. So census.gov/quick facts, utilize the census, right? Anytime you need to research your demographics, okay? At the end of the day, you are telling a story, right? You're literally selling your organization, the story of your organization to a foundation, right? But what you want to keep in mind is that you don't ever really want to make yourself the hero of that grant application. Your target population, who you're helping, is the real hero, right? Because that's where the transformation takes place, right? So you want to keep your grant narrative focused on who you're helping, your target population. Think about those high school kids, right? So once they have the opportunity to go through that tutoring program and bring their reading and math right up to proficiency, maybe they can graduate from high school and go to college or take a trade or join the armed services, right? They're being transformed. Let's say you have a ministry where you're helping the homeless. Well, once you provide the opportunities for that person to have shelter, maybe they can get a job. Or maybe they can go back to school. So the transformation occurs within whom you are helping. So you want to keep that population at the center of your grant application, all right? So ask yourself, really, have you been telling your story the best? When you've been writing these grant applications, those of you who have you really talked about how you've been able to change lives? Have you talked about the outcomes, right? Have you been able to appeal to emotions? The best way to do this is through video, right? Too many of you are sleeping on videos. You can use videos for testimonials, right? Using real examples. And it doesn't have to be expensive, right? Literally, that restaurant, that bakery, she can have her clients like use their cell phone. And everybody knows I'm an Android person. But if you have that little iPhone, you can still have the customer literally talking to that phone, right? For 1 minute and talk about how this was the best cupcake they've ever tasted in their life, right? So those testimonials can be videos that will go on the homepage of your website. And let me just give you a couple of pieces of information about websites. You are going to need a website, right? Foundations, one of the first things that they do when they research organizations is go to the website. We're not talking about social media or Facebook pages, a website. You are going to need a website, and websites don't have to be expensive, okay? I sometimes hear these crazy prices. People have told me people want to charge them to build a website. No, websites can be extremely affordable, but you need a website. Now, I am blessed with a phenomenal web designer and web developer, because there's a difference, right, between a web designer and a web developer. She happens to be both, and she's been designing and developing websites for I think it's like 25 years now. So if you need a website, you can drop your email into the chat and I will give your information to her. But you need a website, okay? And it does not have to be expensive because I tell you, oh my gosh, so often I know, because when I meet with foundations, they will tell me what they found or didn't find that they wanted to find right on the website. So yes, you need a website, but videos should be on the homepage of your website. Now, you have a decision to make. Are you going to ask for operating or program project money? Operating money means you decide where the grant goes. It could go towards your rent or your IT or employees, right? Or maybe you have a special program like the bakery. She wants to start a delivery service. So that would be her special project, right? What you need to know is that you should be applying for multiple grants for multiple opportunities, right? So you can apply literally to multiple foundations for the same program or project, right? So you should be, let's say you need $10,000 to hire staff. You can apply to Foundation A for $10,000 to hire staff, and then Foundation B for $10,000 to hire staff, right? What if you get both? What if you get both grants and all of a sudden you find yourself with $20,000, right? Well, what you're not going to do is give money back. We don't give grant money back, right? But what you can do in that grant application, if you said the $10,000 was for a 10-hour-a-week person, and now you have $20,000, you can maybe double it, right? So maybe that person is working 20 hours a week. So absolutely, you must apply to multiple foundations for what you need. Just keep in mind that you can only apply to one foundation for either operating or program project money, but you should be applying to multiple foundations for what you need. So don't ever just apply to one foundation and stop, okay? Now, you're describing next year, whatever your project or your service says. Why has it been successful? If it's something new, why will it be successful, okay? You're going to address whatever the needs are, detail your activities, and provide any type of supporting research, right? If it's something new, right, that you are implementing. Now, community partnerships are critical. I've seen this become a much larger portion of every grant application. What does that mean? You have got to understand the importance of collaboration and creating partnerships within the community, right? You don't have to operate your organization on your own. And it doesn't mean that you are exchanging any type of finances, right? It doesn't mean that there's an exchange of money. It doesn't have to be that way, right? It's up to you. But they become important because organizations and foundations want to know, like, who are you partnering with within the community, right? So I'll give you an example. I was writing a grant for a 3rd grade class, and it was an urban class. It was a Black school, right? And so they wanted to teach their 3rd graders the violin. Well, we were partnering with the Cleveland Orchestra, clearly one of the greatest orchestras in the world, right? They were going to come after school and literally teach these kids the violin. Can you just imagine on a grant application what that looks like, right? This small school being able to partner with the world-renowned Cleveland Orchestra. So find ways to partner, right? It would be the Urban League, HBCUs, right? Other organizations. And that bakery, she can partner with an event planner, right? So she can send out flyers about the event planning service or place flyers in her restaurant, and the event planning service can utilize the bakery service for some of her needs, but also she's referring her customers to the bakery. So find ways in which you can partner with other organizations in the community, because you will need to address that on the grant application. All right. So now we're talking about results. Forecasting, and I don't want you to get scared of the word forecasting, because all we're doing is listing in the grant application what we expect our future results to be if we get the grant money. Now, sometimes you're going to be asked on the grant application for one, just output. Sometimes you'll be asked for all three, so we'll go through all three, okay? Now, outputs, those are immediate results. You give me the grant money, this is what will happen. Outcomes, they happen about maybe 6 months to a year down the road. So because of the outputs, because you gave me money, this is what's going to happen in maybe 6 months to a year. Impact, that's a little further out. That's 1 to 2 years down the road, right? But they occur as a result of the outcomes, which occurs as a result of the outputs. I'll give you an example. A daycare center wanted $20,000 to open. So you're writing in the grant, right? If you give me the $20,000, we're going to open. We found just this great location, right? We did our research. So we're going to open, we're going to serve 100 families and 250 children, right? Now, as a result of you giving us the money and us opening, right, and serving 100 families and serving 250 children, well, in 6 months, we're going to grow our capacity by 40%. We're going to add 24/7 services in 6 months, right? Now, because we grew by 40% and because we added 24/7 services, in a year to 2 years, we are going to expand to 2 locations, and we will document that 25% of our families are experiencing less stress. Why? Because they can drop their kids off 24/7. Like, would you experience less stress if you could drop your kids off any time of the day? And 65% of our children will demonstrate improved behavior because we have this fantastic educational program. So you see how that works? Outputs, outcomes, impact, right? Make sure you are dropping those questions into the chat or the Q&A. All right, so you are going to have to come up with SMART goals, right? SMART goals, not just regular goals, SMART goals. What are they? Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. I want to show you how I change just a regular goal into a SMART goal. Let's say you have a program and you say, my goal, I want to reduce the poverty rate in Cleveland, right? Well, that's a huge goal. That's a significant goal, right? That's too broad. How do you change that into a SMART goal? You can now say, I want to reduce the poverty rate by 5% in Cleveland for Hispanic children under the age of 5 within a 5-year time frame, right? What did I do? How did I change the goal to a SMART goal? I added data and statistics, right? So that's what you do. You also want to think about, what are your assessment tools? How are you proving that your program or your company is working, right? I love surveys, SurveyMonkey, JotForm. The restaurant can survey her customers to find out whether or not the delivery service is working. The retired principal can utilize, right, the test scores before and after those kids took the tutoring to find out whether or not there was an increase in reading and math. So you need to talk about ways in which you can prove, right, that your program is working. All right, next you're going to talk about your staff, right? Especially if you are a for-profit, you probably haven't updated your bio or your resume in years. Well, that's more homework for you. Yes, you will need an updated bio and resume, and also an updated bio and resume of anybody that you are placing in charge of that project, right? Let's say it's not you. Why? Because foundations want to know that these people are qualified. It's all about accountability. Next, we go on to the budget. What do you need to know? Budgets have to be itemized. So if you're asking for $50,000 to hire an executive director, you can't just put, I need 50 grand for like an ED. No, you have to say specifically, I need $50,000 for what? For 6 months or for a year, right? And it's a contract 1099 person, because if it's a W-2 person, then you're going to have to include benefits. So you need to be specific. And where do you put those specifications? Into the budget narrative, right? So you put the money amount into the budget, itemize them, right? Be specific. Let's say you want 1099 contracted staff. You need to say, I need $20,000 because the staff is going to work 20 hours a week or 40 hours a week for 6 months. That detailed information goes into the budget narrative, okay? Next, I love this, sustainability. Remember I said before that grants are not guaranteed, and just because you get a grant in year 1 doesn't mean you're going to get it in year 2. Well, you have to address this in your grant application, right? You have to talk about how in year 2, if you don't get the grant money, you are still going to sustain the program, right? So I want to do a quick activity. I want you to think about the high school. The high school got the $20,000 grant for the tutoring course, right? Now, they have to write down in the application in year 2 how they are still going to come up with $20,000 to pay for the tutoring program, right? So I want you to think about and put into the chat, right? How could a high school say in a grant application, right, how they're going to come up with $20,000 in year 2 to still sustain the tutoring program if they don't get a grant? because you really have to think about this. You have to answer just this question, the sustainability issue, right? Year 2, high school, think about it, a high school, into the chat. What could a high school do? What could they write in the application to say, yes, Ashanti, perfect, bake sales, right? School fundraisers, car washes. How about a talent show, right? How about selling school merchandise, right? How about being able to sell tickets to their sporting events, right? Oh, Ashanti, that is perfect. A carnival. You're going to have to come up, right, with creative ways of addressing this issue in the application, of writing, right, these alternative fund development methods that you will have to still sustain your program, right, in year 2 if you don't get the grant funding. At the end of the day, this is really about knowing that you can do this, and it really is a shift in your mindset. I can't address this enough. You need a winning mindset. I don't want you to go into this idea of grant writing thinking, oh my gosh, it's too much, I can't do it, I don't have the time. Well, we know literally, instead of it taking months to write a grant, sometimes it takes hours to write a grant, right? So it's not going to be the amount of time that maybe you envision. Instead of having to write a 20-page paper, literally some grants are 1 page and 2 pages, right? People that look just like you and me, I'm going to say that again, people who look just like you and me are getting grant money every single day, right? So this is happening. And I explained before why, because there's so much money available now for Black-owned organizations and Black-led nonprofits, right? But keep in mind, you want to do this in a community of support. That is critical. Why? Because there are, oh my gosh, there are so many scammers. There are so many scammers out here. I literally hear a story almost every day about somebody that's been scammed. Why? Because we're talking about free grant money. And anytime you're talking about free money, the scammers, they come out of the woodwork. Okay. And I hear stories about people who have paid somebody money. They never saw the person again, never got a grant, right? Never got any feedback, right? Never even saw the grant application. Okay. So if somebody is telling you, oh, give me $50, I'll write 3 grants, I want you to do one of those military turns, okay, and run in the opposite direction, okay? Do this in a community of support of people for whom you trust, all right? I want you to position yourself for success, right? And I want you to be able to help the clients and solve the problems with what? With somebody else's money, okay? So that you can stop bootstrapping, stop asking family and friends for money, and get some of all of this $90 billion that is available for you coming from somebody else's pocket, okay? That's what we want. Now, if you take nothing else away from this webinar, this is critical. Whatever you do, meet with the funder first. Meet with the funder first, okay? This is so important because it is as important as the grant application. You are relationship building. And I can tell you in that meeting, you're going to find out information about the grant that is not on their website, right? They're going to find information out about you and your program that you would never be able to put on a website because you are building that relationship. Literally, set up a meeting a month ago with a client. After 30 minutes, the foundation had never even heard of my client, right? But those missions aligned, right? And after 30 minutes, he walked away with $30,000. Happened again 2 months ago. Set up a meeting, found the foundation had not even heard of my client, but the missions aligned, right? And so after that meeting, he was able to get not only a $30,000 grant immediately, but he was told that they were willing to give him $30,000 a year, every year. Please, whatever you do, meet with the funder first. I've been in foundation meetings where I've heard program directors say, look, if this person has not contacted me, has not called me, has not written me, more than likely, that's the application that's going to the trash. Now, not every foundation does that, no. Some foundations don't even want to meet with you. They will say, no, fill out the application, submit it, that's it. But if you have the opportunity, please meet with the funder first, right? These are some of the do's. Next, time management, people, hear me. If the deadline is 4:59 p.m. and you submit that application at 5:00 p.m., it's going to be a bad day for you. It's going to be a bad day for you because the portal will have closed, right? So please, 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 always start early and address every question, right? If there's a question that doesn't pertain to you, don't leave it blank, because if you are completing application that's in a portal online, it may be rejected as being incomplete because you left the question blank. So just put NA, right, if it doesn't pertain to you. And of course, you want someone else other than you to provide an external review of that application. Those are some of the do's. These are some of the don'ts. Look, I love a good template. Templates are fantastic, but please don't think that you're going to copy and paste one entire grant application into 20 other ones, because every grant application is a little different. Also, don't ask for too much money when you are approaching a funder for the first time, please, right? Now, typically, we know how much a grant is for, right? It's listed as $5,000 or $10,000. But often, especially when you are working with community foundations, they don't tell you the amount of the grant. You have to let them know what you need. So if you're going in the first time, ask for between $5,000 and like maybe $25,000, sometimes $30,000 for the first time. Don't go in asking for $100,000. You're not going to get it because they don't know if you are a good steward financially of money. So be conservative, and then don't forget to edit. Oh, yes. And Jacqueline, you're absolutely right. Like the meetings, they don't have to be in person. Like most of the meetings I set up for clients are via Zoom, right? So they don't even have to be in person. Now, I told you how important it is, though, to do the meeting, to set up the meeting. How are you going to do that? You're going to create a letter of introduction. In that letter, you're going to talk about your organization. You're going to talk about your statement of needs, your target population. You are going to align those missions, right? You're not going to ask for money. You're not going to ask for money, right? Yet, because this letter is to set up a meeting. Now, how do you get the information? Because remember, 90% of foundations don't have a website. Now, I've been giving you tea all afternoon. This is a teapot. I don't want you to send this letter, even if you have the name, right? You've got the name. I don't want you to send it to like info@abcfoundation.org. It's going to go off into the hemisphere somewhere. You need a real email address, and this is it. This portal is amazing. It's called getemail.io. It will literally give you the email address of just about anybody in the world that works for an organization. I get emails all the time from people in Italy, Germany, you name it. I use this all the time. And guess what? It's free. It's free for like maybe the first 10 to 15 emails. So use them wisely. And then it's about $60 a month. But use your free emails wisely, because getemail.io, you want to be able to send it to a person because they are going to acknowledge you, right? When you send it directly to their personal, we're talking about personal email addresses within the company, right? It's not going to the secretary, it's going to them direct, right? Now, this is how you find grants. This is a grant research that we're going to do, right? The Foundation Directory Online is the leading source of information on grants in the country. It's about $50 a month, but you can go into your library, right? And typically libraries have access to the Foundation Directory Online for free, right? So it will give you the names of organizations that provide funding. It's about $50 a month. Instrumental.com is $200 a month. It's pricey, but it gives you the grant application, like the opportunity. It gives you the name of the organization, the funder. It gives you the 990 and training. Grants.gov, you know that's the source for federal grants. If you are a church or a faith-based organization, yes, there are millions and millions of dollars available to you. The Lilly Foundation is the largest funder of religious organizations. If you have an educational fund, you can use grantgopher.com, right? It's free. Lilly Foundation is free. Grants.gov is free. Grant Watch I happen to love, so it's one of my personal favorites. It will give you the open grant application, right? And information about the organization. And it's only about $20 a week. So if you're on a budget, use your $20 and get as many names as you can. Grant Watch. Grant Station, I love. They have so many grants for for-profit, nonprofit too, but for-profit organizations. And Urban Awareness, USA.org, they are Black owned. and they have tons of information on grants for Black organizations. So how do you actually do the research to get the grants, to get information about the grants? This is the homepage of GrantStation. So as you can see, you're going to input all these variables. Look to the right. Remember, I talked about the importance of your areas of interest. You're going to fill out this information. You're going to look at whether or not you want a grant coming from a national organization or local. In one word, please start local. Don't overlook your local organizations, because it will, if you get the local funding, it'll be easier to get national funding. So don't overlook your local foundations. So you're going to put in all this information. Are you a business? Are you a nonprofit? Are you an individual? Do you want a local or national grant, right? Do you want a grant that's coming from the government, right? Federal grant, or maybe a foundation? Are you looking in your city, right? Do you want the funder to be located in your city or in your state, or does it not matter? Keep in mind, you could have a funder located in California that's giving grants to organizations in Cleveland. So, don't limit yourself. You put in all this information, you push a button, and up pops many, many, many grant opportunities for you to apply to. So this is just GrantStation, right? Now, I told you I was going to give you a list of actual grant opportunities. The Black Chambers of Commerce and American Express have collaborated to provide a grant called We Back Black Businesses, right? You may know about the DLT, the Department of Transportation grant. Facebook has a Black Creators Grant. I've got one of those grants before. The National Association for Self-Employed Growth Grants, right? Minority Business Development Agency. FedEx has a grant. SBIR, that's a government grant. Northwestern Mutual Black Founder Accelerator has a program. And for those of you who are thinking, well, I can't get a grant because I have a small organization, I don't have any employees. Yes, you can still get grant money, right? You can get grant money if you have an all volunteer operation. Okay, you don't even need W-2 or 1099 workers. As long as you're providing impact, as long as your organization is working. Look at Amarillo. All they do is give grants to really teeny tiny small organizations, or even all volunteer nonprofits. So don't think, you're too small. Mustard Seed, all they do is give information and grants and resources to faith-based organizations. Harlem Capital, they focus on providing information and grants to Black organizations. The Lilly Foundation, 2 years ago, they started a $23 million fund for HBCUs and Black churches. Give Butter, that's a group of Black philanthropists. All they do is give grants to Black organizations. Barclays Banks, okay? Now, if you are a startup, yes, there's grant money for you, absolutely. There is InSile and also Sky's the Limit, right? So you'll get the replay. These are just a few that are available. I know I have a lot of women on the webinar, so I have some information for you. You absolutely need to sign up for helloalice.com, because it is the largest portal right now of information on grants for small businesses that are led by women. Now, I call it the credit card money. MasterCard and Visa, they have a program for Black women, and the MasterCard one just opened up April 1st. So that is live, like right now, that's available. And also Kickstarter, but the Goldman Sachs 1 Million Black Women program, that's for Black women-led nonprofits, that is now open. And I think the deadline is the end of this month. Cartier has a program. Amber Grants for Women, they give away $10,000 every single month. If you have a sports related or health and wellness program, you want to go to the Women's Sports Foundation. All right. Yes, keep applying, keep applying. Any grant that you see from helloalice.com, just keep applying. Now, I want you quickly to put into the chat, what do you think about when you think about money and banks? Banks and money, banks and money, banks and money. What do you think about banks and money? Hard, yes, yes. Loans, credit, debt. Well, do you know that banks are one of the largest providers of grants, right? Not loans, grants. You've been going to the wrong person. It is not your bank manager, because they're probably going to sell you a loan, right? It's not your loan officer, because they're probably going to sell you a bigger loan. You have to find the vice president at your bank. Usually the vice president, like community reinvestment or community development or economic development, because they have the ability to write grants, free money, right? Make sure it's a bank that has like a really good footprint in your area, in your community. Maybe they have several branches, right? Or maybe you see a lot of advertisements, right? So you know that they want to invest in the community and you apply for a grant. A young lady who was on my webinar late last year, she saw me talking about the bank. She went to her community, she researched, and she applied to her bank for a $2.3 million grant. Yes, I've gotten so much grant money from banks for clients. So don't sleep on banks. Now, please, I thank you so much for saying it to the end. I don't want you to go anywhere. We're going to do a really in-depth Q&A. But remember I said, I've been writing grants for 15 years. And what I know is that there's so much money available now. I can only help so many people if I write one grant at a time for people, for my clients. So what did I do? I created an easy to follow grant writing course because I want you to get some of this money. I want you to be able to have a step-by-step path to funding, right? Because I want you to be impactful. I want you to be able to fulfill your mission statement. I want you to think about what could I do with $20,000 or $30,000 or even a $50,000 grant, right? And so this particular course will save you time and money. Literally, it will cut at least 50% off on the time that you take to research grants, right? I get so many questions. Is there a grant for, like, fill in the blanks? Yes, you just have to find the right funder, right? So I want you to be able to do it better and faster than doing it by yourself or doing it alone, because you need the right way, right? You need the right way to do this. And I talked about community. You need to be in a safe space where you can trust the people that you're working with, right? I have the best grant techniques, right? I've been doing this for 15 years. And I teach you how to find funders who literally want to give you money. And of course, I'm going to teach you how to write every part of the grant narrative, like every part. And yes, I do give you clear examples, right? Based on grants that I have written, because I told you before, like, nobody can tell your story like you. And I give you the help that you need, right? So what do you get? You get 12 modules, 35 lessons, 30 introductory videos, because I know people learn differently, right? I always start every lesson off with a video, and then I create the lesson for you and the task. And it's fun because you're talking about something that you're passionate about. And yes, I give you planners, I give you workbooks, and I give you quizzes, right? They're fun quizzes too. And I told you about the actual grant examples, right? Every grant example won money. Like every grant example that I have in this course won money. So if I'm teaching you how to really write about your history, I'm giving you an example of how I wrote about a history in a grant, and the grant won money, okay? And I'm doing what I know for a fact nobody else is doing. I'm literally giving you a list of 450 grant funders. I'm going to say that again. You literally get a list of 450 grant funders. And unlike so many other people who offer courses and then you buy the course and you never see them again, I believe in supporting you. I have a private Facebook group, which I'm telling you, these people are amazing, right? My private Facebook group is unbelievable. Literally, if you are writing a grant and you want somebody in that group to maybe look at the grant, you can come into the Facebook group and ask somebody to look at the grant for you. I have professional grant writers in the Facebook group who took the course. And when you take the course, you get admitted immediately to the private Facebook group, right? And so you get the support that you need. Like, I'm here to support you. I want you to win some of the money that's available. And in addition to the private Facebook group, once a month, I have a 1-hour group coaching session where we can do a deep dive into your organization, right? So that if you're stuck, you get unstuck, right? And if you're part of the Facebook group, or if you've been on any of those group coaching calls, give yourself a shout out in the chat, because those group coaching calls, oh my gosh, they help so many people. And it's with me. Like, I don't have somebody coming in to substitute. I serve as your coach, right? And so I've had the course audited 3 times now, and the 12 modules are worth $3,549. Oh yes, Ashanti says the group is awesome. Yay! So the introductory videos are worth $599. The list of funders is worth $499. And then you get the full workbook, the planner, the grant tracker, the goal tracker. That's worth $350. So literally the audit, 3 audits, the course is worth $5,000. So the regular price of the course is $997. The course has been reduced to $497. Why? Well, this is my birthday month, so it's $497. I'm celebrating, but you're not paying that because you decided that you were going to spend an hour with me. Thank you, Priya. I know you need help, right? So you're not paying the $497. Everybody knows, who knows me, knows that I'm a woman of faith, and I have been a servant leader since I started working at the age of 15. I'm here to help you. I can't stress that enough. I'm tired of hearing these stories about people being scammed. I want you to get this money. So for the next 3 days, you are getting a 50% discount off of the $497 price, right? You're paying $247. That's it. That's it. That's one price. People always ask me, okay, I can do the $247 a month. It's not a month. It's one payment. That's it. That's what you get. You get everything for one payment. But it is $497 in the online portal that you go to. That's why you have to use the discount code. Okay, you have to use the code. You put in the code, it will take the $250 off. You get the course for $247. And now I'm doing something that I never do. Let's say you don't have the $247. I'm literally giving you the opportunity to make 2 payments, each for $137.50 for 2 months. And guess what? I don't drip my course. Even if you make the $137.50 payment, you get the full course. You get access to everything right with the first payment. And look, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a small business. We have small businesses on the line. We have nonprofits. Look, we have busy lives. The course never expires. I wouldn't do that to you, right? Because if you buy the course and you think in your mind, I'm going to do this course next week, life happens. Okay, I can't do it next week. I'm going to do it in 3 weeks. I don't want you to be under the pressure of, oh, I got to get this. No, the course never expires and you go at your own pace, right? So at the end of you making it through this course, you're ready. Like, I believe you're ready to get grant money, which is why you decided to spend this hour with me, right? So at the end of you taking the course, I give you 450 funders, right? So I'm serious about you getting this money, right? This is everything you get. I didn't even talk about the letter of inquiry, right? And it's self-paced. You go at your own speed, right? I give you all of these lessons. You get everything. Yes, it's for the culture. Absolutely it is. It's a crazy price. I know. I have coaches, right? I'm in a mastermind. I have coaches. They tell me all the time, this is a crazy price and it shouldn't be $247 or anywhere near. I should keep it at $997. But I know you need help. I know you need help, right? So yes, you can make the one payment of $247, or you can make 2 payments of $137.50. If you make the 2 payments of $137.50, you don't even need a discount, right? And so when you go to purchase it, this is what you're going to see. The $497, you can hit purchase, and then you do use the coupon to take the $250 off, or you can hit that little drop down arrow and hit the 2 times $137.50, make a payment of $137.50. You'll get to this page here. Now, to the left where it says have a coupon, that's where you put the coupon. Now you see this little block here where it says ask the expert. If you want one-on-one with me, and people do this all the time, they want a really intense one-on-one deep dive into your organization, you can meet with me one-on-one, right? It's normally $495 per hour. It's reduced to $195 per hour. This is the only time it's reduced is when you buy the course. You get a chance to buy that hour to just sit with me and we go over your course. You can ask me any questions, right? You can add that on to the cost of the course, right? Now, why is this important for you to start grant writing right now and not waiting and not procrastinating? Because there are organizations like Verizon and Walmart where they will tell you when the money is gone, the money is gone. You need to start applying to us for our money January 1st, because by the time we get to the summer, we have exhausted our supply of grant funding. So please, whatever you do, don't wait. Don't be in this same place a month from now, please. Please don't be in the same place. You can do this. My next monthly coaching call is Monday, April 24th, by the way. So when you join, you will have immediate access to the course. You will go into the Facebook group where you will see, oh my gosh, so much happening in the Facebook group. I put all kinds of new grants in the Facebook group. I put a grant in there today, right? I want you to be ready for the rest of the year. I don't want you to wait. We know the program works, right? These are just some of the testimonials. Farah, and I can't make this up. Farah got five grants, literally within the last 2 months. She got 5 grants for her mom's church. Reverend Smith got a $35,000 grant for her church. Kelly got a $75,000 grant, right, for her colleague, and then wrote more grants for her. Brian got the $30,000 grant. I mean, it's people are getting the grant funding, right? They're getting the grant funding. Christina just wrote, and you'll see when you go in the Facebook group, a note in the Facebook group, she just got $10,000 last week from a grant that I placed in the group, right? So you have the list of 450 and you have additional grants that I'm always listing in the group. And you'll see her testimony where she literally just got a $10,000 grant. She looks just like you and me, okay? So don't think that people that look like us are not getting this money, because they are. All right, we're going to go to Q&A. We're going to start with the Q&A. So yes, it's $247. That's one payment, right? That's only one payment. It's one payment. It's not every month. You're one and done. You're one and done. And you will get, okay, you'll get 3 emails. The first email will ask you to set up your username and your password. And when you do that, you have access to everything. It's self-paced. The second email will be a welcome. And the third email will give you the link to the Facebook group, because we'll admit you to the Facebook group. I'm telling you, it's fire. I'm telling you, it's amazing. Let me tell you what happened in the Facebook group. They started a subgroup. Like, these people are serious about getting grant money because they see people in the group getting money. And so they actually have a co-working space. Incredible. Like, these people are serious. Like, it's time to get money. Okay. You will not receive a presentation deck because I don't share my slides. All of the materials has a copyright on it, but you will get the replay. You'll get a free replay. So once that slide come up, you can do what you want with it, right? Because you'll get the full replay. If we are awarded multiple grants, do they need to be disclosed in the fund sourcing summary? That's up to you. That's up to you. That's absolutely up to you. If you want to list the fact that you have other grants, I would always list at least 1 or 2. Again, so that funder knows that you're getting funding from other organizations. That's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing, because they know that there's other organizations that believe in your program or your project or your company. So that's a good thing, right? But you decide how many you want to list. Let's say you've listed, let's say you've received 10 grants. You might not want to list all 10 grants, but you decide how many you want to list. But I always recommend, listing a couple. List a couple, okay? All right, so we're going to go through the chat and go through the questions in the chat. All right, yes, people think it's a monthly payment. It's really not. It's one payment. Oh, and it's tax deductible. I didn't even talk about that. It's totally tax deductible because this is an educational expense. So yes, you can literally write it off. You can write off the $247. And yes, if you pay the $137.50, you will still have access to everything. All right, all right, all right. Let's see where these questions are. I know I saw some. Okay, I have your emails. Yes, Ashante, never be in a position where you have leftover money. Ever, ever, ever. That is a no-no. You never, ever, ever be in a position where you have leftover money. Because guess what? That foundation, they're not going to give you any more grant money if you can't even spend what they have, right? Never be in a position to do that. So Shaman is asking, is it a good idea to have a daycare center as a 501c3? There are many, many, many daycare centers that are 501c3s. So absolutely. And speaking of daycare centers, I presented to a daycare center in a Facebook group. I did a special presentation for them. And as a part of that presentation, I presented them with a list of literally, it was maybe 60 to 70 grants just for early elementary education and daycare centers. So you're in a good field because there is money for you. Do I turn in my receipts for my grant money? No, you don't have to turn in receipts, but you have to keep very close, very, very close track of where you are spending the money, right? You need to tag any money that you get from a grant. You should be tagging so that you follow where that money is being spent, right? Now, the foundation, they just want to know that you spent the money and where you spent it on, right? But I've never seen where they actually ask for receipts, but you need to be able to say, this is what you bought in your grantee report, right? Because you'll need to complete a grantee report. This is what you bought with the grant money, right? So you need to just create a list. So I paid $20,000 for furniture for a school. As long as you have that information and you can put where you got it from, like the name of the furniture company. So you want to keep records, very good records. All right, I'm a traveling hairstylist as of now, but I want to open up a wedding venue. So when I'm filling out grants, do I ask for a wedding business or the wedding venue that is still in the planning process? Do I ask for my wedding? So when you apply for a grant, you're applying as your business, right? Then you're going to write about what you need the money for. So you can say, I'm going to spend the money, right, on my wedding venue. So that's where you're going to spend the money, but you will be applying for the grant money as a part of your business. Now, it depends on whether or not you are asking for operations or project money. If you're asking for operations money, it doesn't matter where you put the money. The money is going to your business. If you want to apply that money towards the wedding venue, you can, right? Or if you're applying for a specific project, then that project is going to be developing a wedding venue, which means that money can only be applied to the wedding venue. So it just depends on what type of grant you're applying for. No. Absolutely not. You have your website for your wedding business. That's all you need. You don't need another website for the wedding venue. You can have a page on your website, your business website that talks about the wedding venue. That can just be a page on your website. You don't need to create another website. No, definitely not. What are some good businesses for a church with a 501c3 to open and make money? You can open a daycare center. You can have a church ministry where you are teaching financial literacy to the community. You can have an organization or a program where you are teaching literacy, right? Reading to your community, right? You can have a church where you are providing different types of, I would say, soft skills, right? So you're teaching people in the community how to use a computer or how to work with Microsoft Office, right? You're teaching them soft skills. You could have a ministry where you're teaching people how to complete their resumes, how to interview for jobs. I mean, it goes on and on and on and on and on. Yep, Kiana, never give up, never back down. Absolutely. And look, just because you get a rejection letter, right? Are you going to let that keep you from applying to other grants because you got a rejection letter? Like money isn't guaranteed. Grants aren't guaranteed, right? Whatever you do, don't stop, because you'll never get a grant if you don't submit an application. It doesn't work that way. You have to submit, right? Okay, I would love to master this grant writing thing so I can help other female. All right, so Ashanti, you should know that there are people who have taken this grant writing course, and you do get a certificate at the end, by the way, who are now professional grant writers. They literally took the course to become a grant writer, because I've been doing this for 15 years, right? So I'm a master grant writer. I'm an instructor. So you take the course, it's soup to nuts, right? You can literally start a grant writing business after taking my course, right? And because when you take the course, remember there's a Facebook group. Remember there's 1 hour of group coaching. Remember, you can talk to me one-on-one. If you want to start a grant writing business, I can help you do that, right? I've been in business for 15 years. I've been writing grants for 15 years. I can help you start your grant writing business and tell you what you need to do and tell you what you shouldn't be doing, okay? So there are people literally who take the course for that specific reason, because they want to become a grant writer. Because I remember I said from the beginning, there are people who write grants, and then there are professional grant writers. They are not the same. They're not the same. You want to be a professional grant writer, okay? So what if they are out of state? We got to fly to them. Oh my goodness, no. No, 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 no. Zoom, Zoom, Zoom. Zoom all day. Zoom all day. All right. I did have one client though. I did have one client drive, but it was like a 3-hour drive, but there was big money at stake. There was like big money at stake. So we both felt it was worth it, because the meeting was with their board of directors, right? It wasn't just with a program officer. I set up a meeting with their board of directors, and those are the people who make the decision, right? So it was worth him driving, right, the 3 hours, right? And then they approved him immediately after the meeting for like $15,000. I say no to banks, but I love credit unions. Don't sleep on banks. I have received grant money from banks for clients who have beauty salons, hair academies, right? Don't sleep on banks. Now, you also want to go to a bank and a credit union if you need a sponsorship. So for those of you who are thinking about creating conferences, right? If you create a conference, it's really best to try to get a sponsorship for that conference. And banks are notorious. Banks and credit unions are notorious for wanting to support major events, because that way they have the opportunity to be before potential customers. And I got this question in, I think, one of my noon sessions yesterday, which is a great question. She was asking about the difference between a grant and a sponsorship. So with a grant, if I'm an organization, I give you a grant, I could not ask for anything in return. There should not be any type of reciprocal benefit, right? I'm giving you the grant money, right? I can't ask for anything of you because I gave you grant money. A sponsorship is totally different, right? If I'm a bank and I want to sponsor your conference, I may want to be able to speak to those people, right, for 5 minutes and have 5 minutes of their time. I may want my name, right, all in your program booklet. I may want to have my name on your step and repeat. That's behind us, right? So that's the main difference. As a sponsorship, I'm expecting some type of benefit from you if I give you that money. All right. Oh my goodness. Ashanti, everybody give Ashanti some love. Give Ashanti some love. Ashanti is one of my students. She completed the course on Monday. Yes. Congratulations, Ashanti. Congratulations. I want you to announce that in the Facebook group so that we can give you some love there too. So you would be a great person to answer some of these questions about what was it like? Like, what was the course like, you know? And she's saying the group is awesome. It's in the Facebook group. I'm telling you, that Facebook group, it warms my heart because people are getting grant money. Like, you're in the Facebook group, you can attest. People are literally getting grant money, right? That is how you receive blessings, when you bless others. Absolutely. Yes, we're in the second quarter. So I talked about that. People, whatever you do, please don't be in this same position a month from now. And as a matter of fact, sometimes you have to speak things into the universe. I want you to put into the chat, everybody that's with me, into the chat, I'm ready to get grant money. I am ready to get grant money. Into the chat now. I am ready to get grant money. I want to see it. I am ready to get grant money. I'll still give you that discount, Ashanti. So send me an email. Send me an email. Yay, everybody give Siobhan. Look, Siobhan was ready. Okay, Siobhan has purchased a course. Everybody give Siobhan some love. Siobhan was ready. She was like, I'm ready. I'm serious. Okay, I am serious. Priya is ready. She bought the course. She is serious. Like, for $247 is tax deductible. Okay, the course is $997. It's been audited to be a $5,000 course. Ashanti, you know, you've been through that course. You know what's in that course. You know that's a $5,000 course. All right, all right, all right. That's what I want to hear. I want to see it. Daycare centers, oh my gosh, the money that's available for daycare centers. Yes, I told you I did a special presentation to a Facebook group. And if you're a daycare center, any daycare centers with me, please, 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 two things. I want you to start joining Facebook groups that really cater to daycare centers. Send me an email. I'm going to send you to a Facebook group that I'm familiar with, that I trust. All they do is help daycare centers grow. I'm going to see you the name of a person that I know. She has a 7-figure daycare center, and she helps other daycare centers become 6- and 7-figure daycare centers. So if you're a daycare center, send me an email. And this is why I like to help people. Like literally when people come to the group chat, to the group coaching, like sometimes they ask me about grants. Sometimes they just ask me about business because I've been in business for a long time. A young lady came into the group chat and she wanted to know, she had a product, right? She had a product that she had created. She had a patent on it. She was trying to bring it to the market. And I happen to know, we call her the queen of QVC and HSN because she's an inventress. She's called the inventress. And she has so many products on QVC, HSN. She's a Shark Tank consultant. And so I introduced her to my friend. I actually spoke on Lisa's webinar 2 nights ago. I spoke to her crowd. And I introduced her to Lisa because Lisa, that's what she does. She gets people on Shark Tank and she gets people's products on HSN and QVC. I can make those introductions because I know a lot of people. All right. All right. All right. All right. Is there a software to keep track? You can buy a software to keep track, but you don't have to. There's a grant tracker in the course. There's a grant tracker and a goal tracker. There's both in the course because it is very important to keep track of your grant application. Like, who have you sent it to? Do they need any other information? Is a deadline coming? I even have a goal tracker that you can use for every component of the grant application, right? So yes, there's a grant tracker and a goal tracker in the course. All right. Daycare centers, yeah, they're on fire. Can I get a grant to help with the architectural plans for building for my for-profit? Right. So when you apply for the grants for your for-profit, that is what you're going to use money for, right? So that can be your project. So your project can be, I need money to pay for the architectural plans. I mentioned before, there is money for almost everything. It is about how you find the perfect funder who is going to give you the money that you're asking for, right? So I'm getting a lot of, is there a grant for that? Yes, there's probably a grant for that. It's about how do you go about researching to find the organization that's going to give you money for what you need. And what did I say before? The mission. Make sure you're finding the right funder. And there's an entire module in the course that literally teaches you how to find your perfect funder. Okay. Oh, thank you, Ashanti. Just not to get off subject, but thank you so much. I happen to be a curvy fashion influencer. And just so if any of you watch the Today Show on NBC, I'm featured in an article that's on the todayshow.com where they're talking about fashion and beauty and style. So you might have seen my name if you go to the todayshow.com. You might have seen my name in one of the articles because I'm a contributor to the Today Show articles on style and such, but thank you, Ashanti. All right, let's see. We are a for-profit healthcare agency serving those diagnosed with a disability or mental health. We apply for funding because we are tired of buying free training. Oh my goodness, who don't choose to get hired? Scared. Okay. All right. So, well, you should be able to get your 501c3. So that's good. So that means you'll be a nonprofit. I can tell you, Audra, I can probably safely say that there are billions of dollars of money, not millions, billions of dollars of money available to healthcare, especially as it pertains to the mental health crisis that we are experiencing right now, because there's so much money that's being provided by the federal government. So you make sure you are looking for not only your local grants, but you should be applying for federal money. Okay, you should be applying for federal grant money because the government is giving grant money for the area of mental health. Okay, so absolutely, you have a huge opportunity to get grant money for what you're doing, okay? Including Medicare and Medicaid money, right? So I hope you get the course because oh my gosh, the opportunities for you are significant. I know facilities and agencies that serve right in the area of mental health, and they're getting Medicaid and Medicare in addition to grants, right? So absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Give Ashante some love. Yes. There we go. Priya, Siobhan, Andre. I'm ready to get grant money. Melanie, Shay, Tammy, Kiana, Ashanti, Kiana. Again, I'm ready to get grant money. Absolutely. Yes. So let me see if there are any other questions. I'm going to wrap this up. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, Ashanti, you've applied to Shark Tank for 3 products. Please send me an email. Don't do it again. Don't apply to Shark Tank on your own again. That is a no. Please, Lisa, my personal friend Lisa is a Shark Tank consultant. She will help get you on Shark Tank. Okay, please, I didn't know that. You have to let me know these things. All right. Oh, Kiana, thank you. Oh, that's interesting. Renata, don't worry about it. Send me an email. Renata bought. Let's give Renata some love. Renata's ready. Look, people, I want you to be ready. Renata's ready. Give Renata some love. Yes, send me an email and I'll get you set up. Yes. Oh my gosh, so much federal money. So much federal money for the health, anything in the health and wellness, anything in the health and wellness spectrum, including the opioid crisis, including mental health. Is it Estifa? They're only giving me like the first 4 or 5 letters. So I think it's Estifa. Estifa is ready to get grant money. Are there grants to help fund scholarships? Siobhan, that's a great question. And I can tell you, likely no. That's one thing that organizations don't like to fund. They don't like to fund scholarships because they like to fund programs, projects, right? They will give you money for your program or your projects. Now, what you could do is ask for operating dollars, right? That would help you with your operations, okay? And therefore, you would have grant money to help with operations. So maybe you can take the money that you were going to use to pay for your lease, for example, and start creating scholarships. But there's other ways you can get grant money without it going solely to scholarships. So, right, so if you buy the course, you ask me that question, I can give you much more information about that, all right? And so whatever you're giving those scholarships away for, there are other ways in which you can get grant money to do what you're trying to do. right? To help, whether it's students or whatever it is, there are other ways to do that. So I hope you buy the course and you ask me, because I have some ideas about that. Is it possible to use grant money from the US for international business projects? It all depends on what the grant application says, right? So keep in mind that, I'm glad you asked that, because when I was doing when I was talking about the front page of Grant Station, you do know that you can search for grants if the people you're helping are in other countries, right? The people that you're helping don't have to be in the United States. So when you're searching for grants, you can search for global grants, right? So don't think the grants are just germane to the United States. You can search for grants in Canada and anywhere across the world, right? And so oftentimes we may have an organization that's headquartered in the US, but our target market or target population live elsewhere. So absolutely, that's possible. You can apply for as many grants as you want to at one time, Lisa. There is absolutely, positively no restrictions on that at all. None. So, Siobhan, there's a whole module on budgets, an entire module. And that module has several lessons. So yes, I teach you how to write a budget, and I give you budget examples. I give you small budget examples. I give you large budget examples. I give you the budgets that I wrote that won money. So yes, there's a whole module on how you write a budget. Yes, absolutely. Yes, if you're ready for some grant money, make sure you join the program. Renata, I'm purchasing a hotel through Choice Brands. Our last development seminar, we discussed grant money. Do you think I'll be able to find grants for that? Yes, but very specifically. I think you bought the course, so we can talk about that. If you purchase a one-on-one, right, with me, I can get really specific, right? But yes, there's, oh my gosh. So please sign up for helloalice.com, because there's literally grant money that can be provided for women who buy franchises. Like, you're buying a franchise, you're buying part of a franchise. So the money is available, and that is such a fantastic opportunity for you to get grant funding. So yes, absolutely. So, but you can ask the question in the Facebook group. Monday, the 27th, you can come into the group coaching and ask me that question, but that's so specific. I'd really like to help you kind of navigate that. So hopefully you'll think about the one-on-one with me, because there are some real opportunities for you. If you're trying to buy a hotel and you want to be a franchisee, yes, there's money for you. Absolutely. In many different ways too, in many different ways, right? I mean, literally, did you know that your franchisee, the hotel, could even start a nonprofit? So there's like so many ways. Yes. Siobhan bought the course. You have until April 9th. You have until April 9th to get the discount, the 50% off, right? So because I don't want you to pay the $497 if you can pay $247. So you have until April 9th to get the discount. You can buy the program. People pay $497 every day for the program. So it will be there, at least for the month of April, right? It will be there. And like I said, I'm celebrating April because my birthday will be in 2 weeks. I'll be the big 60, people, 60. Yes, I'm celebrating. All right. So yes. 50% off, right? Until April 9th. But afterwards, absolutely, you can pay the $497. Renata, send me an email. We'll do the one-on-one. I'm not sure what that says, but you've gotten, see, I'm not making these things up. Renata got a $5,000 grant from Hello Alice. All right. So it's real, like real people are getting real money, right? And if you come, and Ashanti knows, if you come into the Facebook group, you'll see all kinds of testimonials of people who took the course and they got money. How much is a one-on-one? It's $195 an hour. Go 60. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So let me go back to the Q&A and I think we're done. Can you get a grant for supplies? Yes, you can. Are there grants to help fund scholarships? That one I answered. Yes, I answered that one. Can you get grant money for a building? That's a long answer. Depends on what the building is for. What are you using it for? It certainly is possible, right? But that would be a significant amount of money. So you probably wouldn't go to one particular funder for that. You probably need an investor because one particular organization isn't going to give you like $1 million to buy a building. You'll probably need to go to several. So you'll need diverse funding, not just grant money, diverse funding. All right. So if you want the one-on-ones, oh my goodness, this is important. Please put these 2 email addresses into your safe senders email list because I want to make sure you get the replay. I don't want the replay going into your spam. All right. I don't want that replay going into your spam. LPV, that's my direct email address, lpv@lapov.com, hello@grantwritingfornonwriters.com. It will come from one of those, right? So it's a recording. Everybody will receive the recording through their email. So that's why tonight, you will get the recording tonight. Check your emails tonight, okay? You'll get the recording. I don't want it to go to spam, so check your spam anyway, right? Okay. So we are done. I want to thank everybody because I know you could have been somewhere else today at noon and you decided to be with me. That's why I'm giving you that deep discount. I wish you all well. I feel your passion. I really do. I feel your passion through this screen. I mean, you have these incredible ideas, right? And you're wanting to help. You're wanting to help. You're wanting to flourish, right? So I lift you up. Absolutely. I hope to see you in the Facebook group. I hope to see you in the group coaching. I hope to see you in the one-on-one, personal meeting that we can have because I want to help you move forward. As I mentioned, I've been a servant leader since I was 15 years old. I know I'm put here to help you. So take advantage of it. Thank you so much. Again, my name is Linda Peavy, and I'm the owner of Lapov Consulting and the founder of the grant writing course, Grant Writing for Non-Writers, Keys to Winning Grant Proposals. And I thank all of you so much. I want you to have a blessed evening and a blessed holiday Easter weekend. All right. Bye-bye.